Welcome, I'm Karenann MacDonald. Thank you for joining me. It's an incredible Monday here. It's June the 15th. We're at the middle of June already, and things are hopping and popping all over. So anyway, first of all, I wanted to send my condolences to Rebecca Willis. Her husband is Dan Willis. If you people don't know Dan, he's amazing. He's always been there. I remember I used to 10, 15 years ago, I'd get a hold of him on Skype after I'd seen him on the Disclosure Project and talking in front of the committees, talking about disclosure. He was a former Navy vet and he was brilliant. The free energy that he could do, and also he was very much involved. He was actually associated with the marcelvogel.org. So if you take a look at it, you're going to see some amazing stuff that Dan has maintained over the years. Anytime I had a question, I would Skype him. And sure enough, I could always call on Dan. Dan would have an answer for me within a day or two. So those are what friends are about. There are a lot of things we have behind the scenes, and I have great respect for him and for his wife, Rebecca. They were amazing. They were trying to stay off the grid. These are circumstances, too, that despite trying to be healthy, doing everything organic and everything else, he had an endocrine system, and basically what was diagnosed is liver cancer. So we see this a lot. And so I want a lot of people to know, this is something that Rebecca Willis has actually posted today. So Dan was absolutely amazing. And so I really think we need to give our hearts out, and so much thanks and gratitude that we have for Rebecca and for what she did, her and Dan, for furthering natural health and for sovereignty and everything along that line. And it's not easy, despite having healthful lifestyles and researching complementary alternative and quantum health and all those healing modalities. All of a sudden these rare and aggressive things can happen. They can grow exponentially, and this has been going on for probably about 6 to 8 months. So after numerous things, he finally agreed to have hospice coming in, and it's the compassion that you need. And so it's nice to know that he had her with him, by his side, and in life and in the transition. So I really want to commend people for that. So if you haven't seen who Dan Willis is, do take a look. It's on my Karen MacDonald Data Truth Intel group. So if you're not on there, that's something that you might want to join in. Sometimes I put things in as much as we can here, and these are things that we're going to take, and I'm a much better individual for having said that. So again, there's so many things that are available. Please take a look at that. So that is one of the things in here, and I'll just sort of screen share here just so that you see who my friend was and who this wonderful individual is. And so that's here. You'll see on my Karen MacDonald Data Share Intel Truth group. A lot of words, but I figure it's catchy. Those keywords will get you. So you can certainly go on to that. So that was Dan, and again, he was, you'll see a lot of pictures going back many years ago. It's almost like 20 some years, pretty close to the National Press Club when they were talking. He's talked in front of the Senate, he's talked in front of different people, Congress, all these different people. And so his expertise, coming in there, like I said, he testified in Washington, all in regards to the extraterrestrial presence and stuff like that. So, and they did as much as they could, off-grid and stuff like that. He was one of the top secret military witnesses, and him and Rebecca tried to stay off-grid and keep as sovereign as they can. So, that's something that we need to I'll take a lesson from it and actually go into. So I wanted to just sort of bring that to your attention. So if you have any questions, I just contacted Rob Khalil. So I just probably put this up as a brief little notice for you. And your mystified Mark said he's watching Typical Skeptic. Yes, I know. I contacted Rob about half an hour ago. He says, do you think I should do something? I said, yeah, I think we all should. So anyway, if you're over at Typical Skeptic, you'll see that, and Rob's probably going to be putting his show up as well. So remember, at Typical Skeptic, Rob has had a lot of whistleblowers over the years on that. So do take a look, because you're going to see all those type of things going. and a lot of people are available, and I'm going to go join over there. Okay, so if you weren't aware of it, do take a look, because at Typical Skeptic, so we're going to put you onto my channel, and hopefully this StreamYard is live streaming there. And one of the things in there as well, so if you're not on my YouTube channel or my Rumble, do take a look at that, because that's one of the things as well that's worth taking a look at here. And let's take a look at what we have here, and we are going to go in, and again, I'm trying to get it so that people will, you know, add these particular things on here. So there is my YouTube channel, so do take a look at that. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to do some stuff on the Spruce and the 560, because I'm actually going to switch this over to that. And for those people, we'll take a look at, because I'm going to go join that, and then I'm going to come back later and we'll talk about essential oils. But Typical Skeptic 2.0 podcast, which we call TSP, so it's not trisodium phosphate. But if you want to join that there, I'm going to put that link in right now. Thank you for joining me, and we'll be back later, and we'll talk a little bit about essential oils in a bit, and we will go from here. Thank you.